Okay, I'm at 10 Wyngate Drive in Dayton, Ohio. We're doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, basically anything concerning for the buyer. The access location, I'm going to try 2 spots, but I tried to open up the stack, which is in the rear center. It's the pipe that comes down from the bathroom. Haven't been able to open that up. I did spray it with some like some rust breaker stuff to see if we can get that spot open, but as of right now, the only access that is open is the floor clean out here. You can see we're on the front, there's the steps. It's in the front floor going out. In most cases, the issues that we find in these situations are on the exterior anyway. That's where, you know, I think the biggest concern is probably going to be that tree out there, because this is cast iron inside. But if you look at this clean out, you'll see if we go down in there, it kind of forces you to go one direction. It's called a sweep, and so we're not able to go back in to the house. It like basically sends you, it can only send you downstream or outside the house. And so the cast iron, which you can see here, does look like it's actually pretty wide open. It looks like it's in good shape for this portion of it. We will try to, I'm going to let that sit for a minute back there on that stack and see if I can get that open. But but based off of the area that we just saw with the cast iron, it looks like that section is in really good shape. And so it switches to clay once it exits the house, once it gets past the foundation, which is normal for this age of home. Clay, if you notice, is in like 3-foot sections. There's a connection about every 3 feet. And that's where a lot of times you'll see some root intrusion, is because at those points, if the packing at those points breaks down and kind of shrinks or something like that, then it'll start to allow a little bit of roots in. It's very, very common. Probably 80 to 90% of the lines that I do have some form of root intrusion of this age in this pipe material. So far, I really don't. There's a little bit of, like, you know, gunk build up at these joints, but I don't see anything concerning yet. It's maybe something where you may want to, you know, monitor it and check back, but right now it looks pretty good so far. You said you have a little bit of stuff like goo buildup, but it doesn't look like any active roots or anything. Maybe it looks basically like mineral deposits, where maybe some groundwater's gotten in through there and kind of building up like you know, depositing the calcium from the groundwater. This is a very little amount of water. It's not a concern. This camera lens is only about a ½ an inch off the bottom of the pipe. It's very, as you can tell. This is it's at least a 4-inch diameter pipe, and that little bit of like maybe a ½ inch of water is normal and not a concern. Okay, trying to look at this part. This is where they've connected like one age of clay to another age of clay. It is holding shape and everything. It doesn't look like it's. That's probably where the demarcation line is, and yeah. So we have made it all the way to the main. You can see the main is actually concrete. You can see the exposed aggregate on the other side. But we are all the way out to the main, and everything looked really good. The structure of the pipe looks really good, and this last section where it changes like the material type, This would all be like from here on out and probably up a little further. This is would be the responsibility of the municipality, Montgomery County Sewer. It's far enough out, close enough to the main. We're within about 6 feet of the main, and so if this ever was an issue, this would be off the property. So that's also good news. But I'm going to pause the video. We're going to, may not even have to. We're going to run some water and just kind of see how that reacts in the line and make sure, see how things are functioning in the line. So we're running some water. It's going to take a minute for it to get down there. I can already hear it. It ran through the interior pipe very quickly, which is a very good sign. But a lot of times it takes a minute for it to get down to the, 55 feet of pipe is a pretty long way, so. Looks like it's starting to show up now. There's a little bit of water flowing behind the camera. But this is just so you can kind of see even the stuff that's laying there, because the house is vacant right now, that, there's a little bit of stuff that's just kind of sitting there in the line. But yeah, so that, it looks weird right here because it's changing pipe material. They were put in basically two different batches of pipe. You have, this section, and then where they had put the main in and everything before they had built the house. It changes to just basically a different lot of pipe. So put in at different times, but it looks good. And so we'll keep that water running as we pull back. We'll take a look at how it's functioning, but I am very happy with what I've seen. There's a little bit, hopefully we don't have too much, because if you can see that, I'm adding water to the spot before, but as we pull back, it does look like the line is in really good shape. Now, with this pipe material and with the tree in the front yard, I am going to recommend that you check it in about 5 years or so, just to make sure that everything is still, that there's no root intrusion, because you do have that calcite and some groundwater is getting in, like in these areas here, but nothing obviously obstructing flow at all, nothing, no visible sign of root intrusion. And so this all looks really good. And so I will put it on the report just to check back in about 5 years or so, maybe, to have a re-inspection, just to kind of see and make sure that there's no root intrusion. Just because it is so very common that there is no issues now, but we just want to make sure that everything is, you want to, like I said, you want to check back in a few years, make sure that there's still no root growth, just because of the situation. That tree out there, and it's very, very common to have root intrusion. Right now the line looks great. So I'm going to pause the video for a second here. I'm going to make an attempt to get that cap open on the base of the stack coming out from the bathroom, just so hopefully we can get a look at this, 15 feet of pipe or so in between the clean out and that stack. So I'm gonna pause the video for a second. Okay, good news. After letting the rust stuff sit, I was able to get the cap open here. You can see on the Y, right on the stack that comes down from the, it's coming down from the bathrooms up there and it comes straight down. And this is a little Y on the end to give access. So you can go in here. So you can take a look at how this section of the pipe looks. Now, based off of what I saw in the beginning, it looks like it should be holding shape really well. It does look like it is wide open. Now, cast iron is a weird pipe material just because it does rust, and so you can't really tell how thin or thick the pipe walls are, but you're looking for any breaks in the line, any obvious holes. But it always looks ugly like this. It's never beautiful because it does rust, but looks like this is wide open. Looks like it's in really good shape for its age. So a lot of times you'll see really bad channeling at the bottom, where you see where the water goes, most of the water flows. And so a lot of times you'll see, like, when it starts getting bad, you'll see really deep channels. So we'll push out to about where we see either the changeover or where the clean out comes in. We're coming up to now. This is where the clean out is. So right about there's the clean out, I think. Well, no, it's actually right about where we just were with that white seam where that connection was made, and here we are outside. So we've taken a look at, it's showing 30 feet on the monitor, but that's measured by the rotation of the drum, so it's not exactly 30 feet, so maybe 20 feet out to the house, out to the edge of the house there. But the line looked great. I didn't see anything of any concern. Again, I would just take a look in a few years, because this looks like more calcite, and it's right past the clean out, or right before the clean out come from this direction. So I think that actually is where the clean out connection was made. But I didn't see any issues, no obstructions. I did want to note with the cast iron though that you want to make sure you're not using any kind of wet wipes or paper towels or anything in these lines, because you can see how rough, because of the rust, the lines get really rough, and it's easier for toilet paper and stuff to clog up something like this, to kind of get caught. And so call those soft clogs, where there's too much toilet paper or flushing the wrong thing down the pipe can cause backups. Wet wipes are a big issue, because they say flushable, but they're not. They don't break down like toilet paper. If you use toilet paper and you run it underneath some water, you'll see how it disintegrates into nothing. It's supposed to do that, so that if it does catch anything, it just disintegrates into the water. Wet wipes obviously won't do that. They'll stay solid, and so if they catch, things can build up behind them. So it's just, if you're going to use wet wipes, throw them in the trash, because they can cause issues in the sewer line. Okay, so here we are and back out to the clean out. And everything looks good. A little bit of calcite at a couple spots, but the line itself is open and flowing at time of inspection. Looks in really good shape for its age. And like I've mentioned a few times, really the only thing of note is I would come back and do a follow-up inspection in five years or so. You can probably get away with a little longer, and just look to see if there's any new root intrusion or anything because of the materials that you have. It's very easy to maintain it. If you catch the roots, then you start seeing them, you can use a chemical that you can put in yourself to make sure that the roots, don't build up and grow a lot, or you can have it cleaned. It's a regular maintenance thing. It's not any kind of catastrophic thing if there's a little bit of roots. Like I said, 80 to 90% of the clay lines that I inspect have tree roots, especially when you have a tree sitting right on top of the line, like it is in this case. So the line's in really good shape. So yeah, just again, do a follow-up inspection in 5 years or so. Go from there, but should be good to go. Everything is open, free-flowing, and look to be in really good shape. So that'll end the inspection at 10 Wyngate Drive in Dayton, Ohio.